Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime project video. This one's going to be more of a guide, and it's going to be a bit of a touch-up to a previous video I've done, a few previous videos I've done, because there's a lot of stuff that we had since I've done those videos, and this is a more or less touch-up on those. So, first and foremost, I'm going to get this out of the way. There's been a few questions that I've seen where it's asking, should you do storyline? If you need a summon that can do some defense down, as in an Idolan, there's an SR Idolan called Vine, but hey, guess what? You have to get to the very last area to get her. And you have to grind out items there. I don't know if you can max break her or not. There's been a little thing about that. But anyways, she carries a defense down. If you don't want to go that route, pull on the gacha, but it can't be gems. It has to be jewels or actual money. There's an SR Idolan that's in there. I forgot her exact name, but she lowers defense as well. So, there's that. And I've done a guide on which gachas to pull if you do want to throw money at this game. The ones that are better to aim for. Personally, if you feel lucky, go for any of them, but there are some that give you a better chance at SSR than others, like the one that's shown right here that gives you a guaranteed Idolan, that's SSR. Now, in my case, I pulled enough SSR Idolans to start getting, like, quite a few copies. One of them I pulled enough in order to actually not need her anymore. And I've already pulled an additional copy on top of that. I'm just saving just for later on. But that's the whole thing with that. Now, I'm going to cover quite a few things right now. First and foremost, try to be in an active union, just in case a union event pops up, because these, you may or may not need the Liliums, because they're more relegated to sub slots. Unless you're a new player that doesn't have too much access to Idolans, you probably shouldn't use them as a main. Because the whole reason with that is the fact that you need elements in order to, mixed elements in order to use them. So I can go into my inventory and show that off right now. There's one Lilium that definitely does stand above the rest if you do decide to get her. But yeah, see, Huang Long is the one I was talking about. I pulled her so many times. I pulled her a total of 6 times. I don't need any more. I only needed her 5. But anyways, these are the Liliums basically right here. I've gotten so many of them, and I've been leveling quite a few of them up. Her as well. There's one more Lilium that's going to come out pretty soon. Just waiting for the light union event to repeat. Because we couldn't get her the first time around since she wasn't in this whole thing. And I don't think the weapon from it, the special SSR weapon, was there either. But just to show off the best Lilium to go after. The other ones can help you out a little bit because they give an elemental attack buff to your party. But as you can see, you get an attack power increase to all elements. And this is by normal attack, not elemental attack. But their normal attack power, which pretty much acts like assault, which I'll get to later about the weapon grids and everything, you only get that if there's 3 or more elements in your front line. That means when you edit your party, there's a total of 4 Kamihime you can stick in the front, and then there's 2 that come in as subs. It's really front, rear, and then sub, but as long as you're not including sub slots in that equation, you have to have 3 different elements in order to get this effect. This is a horrible, horrible thing later on in the game. If you're a newer player, by all means use it if you don't have anything better. But there's a lot of different Idolans that beat this out. This is why they're relegated to a sub slot, especially since their stats are kind of low. I've got her at level 68, and there's actually gacha Idolans at level 40 that's got better stats than this. But as you can see, she comes with a summon buff that gives you all attack up. So everybody gets an attack buff when you use her in a fight. That's why Liliums might be good in a sub slot. Some other Idolans that might be good in a sub slot is the Dragoons, whether you get the SR or the SSR ones. your choice if you want to use SR, because you're going to get a lot of SSR items in your grind. They're good for sub slot. Someone like, say, Tiamat, she's very good for a sub slot or main one if you have water. If you're on other elements, she's definitely good for a sub slot because she has a good summon ability and a strong amount of attack power. We just had an event to get her. It probably won't ever show again. I'm sorry, but raid events usually don't get repeated. Doesn't mean you won't get a chance at her, because that will happen way later down the line. But that's the whole thing. Pay attention to what the add-ons do. That will determine whether you go main or sub. Like, a very good instance of a main add-on would definitely be the 100% ones you might see floating around, or if you manage to pull one. Another good one for a main is add-ons like this, where they help multiple elements, and usually it's elemental attack, not character attack. Elemental attack is like a raw damage boost, while character attack just ups their attack stat, which really doesn't add too much damage, to be quite honest. I mean, it is a boost either way, but this is more of a boost. And as you see, I got Echidna up there pretty nicely. Now, another thing you might want to pay attention to is these stats right here, where it says plus 99 or plus 1 or plus 5 or whatever plus number. Here's the thing. You take that number and multiply it by 1 for HP. And that's how much additional HP that add-on gets, or that weapon gets, or even Kamihime. Because you can do it with them, but I'll get to that in a second. Now, they also get an attack power boost, which is 3 times the plus number. So, if you got it plus 99, which is the highest, they give 99 more HP, and they give 297 more attack. This can really rack up, because if you can do it for all your add-ons, that's 6 times you do that. That's about 600 HP alone. And the attack power is triple that, which is almost 1800. In the case of weapons, you get up to 10 weapons. So for that weapon grid, that's about 1000 HP, just about, and about 3000 attack. So that altogether adds up to nearly 5000 attack and nearly 1600 HP that you can give to all your characters. But they can also get plus 99, even though it's only to themselves when it comes to the Kamihime. So that can really spike your stats. But don't do it for the Kamihime, because here's the thing. You want to do it for your weapons first, and then do it for your Kamihime if you have nothing else. The whole deal with that is the fact that grids affect all of your characters that are on that front line. And then the Kamihime themselves get their own separate little thing. I don't know if they'll do this for accessories. I hope they do, because I'd give it a lot more worth. But that's a different story entirely. But the whole thing is you get plus 1 weapons at times, and you get plus 1 add-ons. Weapons can go for either Kamihime or other weapons. You have to enhance for that. Add-ons only work on other add-ons. So as you notice, I got plus 99 on Echidna. I've got plus 99 on Huang Long. I got plus 40 on Ixion. 54 on Yatagarasu. 20 on Jack Frost. There's just a lot. And keep in mind, I've been playing this game since it came out on Otaku. I even did a pre-launch thing where I've gotten a copy of Echidna. That's why she's 85 and not 70. So I've racked up a lot of stuff. I can say this without a doubt that I've only missed 2 event weapons and 2 event add-ons. The 2 add-ons I don't have from the events is Quetzalcoatl. It's a very hard name to pronounce, but she starts with a Q. And I don't have Icarus. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any copies of her, and I didn't have the chance to grind. So yeah, if I don't have them, I don't have a chance to grind. She's a special SR add-on that they gave out 2 copies of. You had to have started a while back in order to get her. I don't know if you're going to get her again. She even has a scene, because here's the thing with a lot of these characters. If they're SSR, they're guaranteed to have a scene. At least in the case of add-ons. On SR level, it's only this character, which is Bugbear, and the one they give you from the start, which is Diablos. Now see, there's the other Huang I got. But anyways, get them to a certain level. It's typically level 40 for everybody except for Diablos, who's level 30. But get them to a certain level, you'll unlock a scene, you'll get more magic jewels. Even if you don't care about the scenes, do this. And if you're playing on the Nitaku.com side, you're not going to see all of the scene anyway, I do believe. They may or may not show the first part and then just cut it entirely. But that's the whole thing. You get magic jewels from all this. Rack up magic jewels however you can. There's tons of quests that give them. There's tons of events that give them. There's sometimes even giveaways. You can get magic jewels from a lot of stuff. Daily quest is another one. But that's the whole thing with that. Now, when you get into weapons, it's a totally different story entirely. Because weapons have skill levels. For instance, I'll use this one. The Ixid Blade I got from the Ixion event. I've leveled it up to skill level 10. This is called Assault, which is an increase in attack power. Depending on the name, it might have something different, but this is what you need to pay attention to. It will come in 1 of 3 stats. Plus, which is 2 pluses, 1 plus, or no pluses. No pluses is a small amount, 1 plus is a medium, and 2 pluses is a large. Now, before, SSR automatically gave you double plus. But now, recently in the game, which has been like maybe a few months ago, there's been other effects where you get multiple. Let me see if there's one that has... Yeah, this is one that gives multiple. Yeah, see, now I get double plus on HP, and I get no pluses on attack, all in one weapon. This is one of the reasons why I had to redo the vid, for the most part. Well, one of them. And then, some event weapons did it too. They can come in any number of combinations, but here's the main thing about it. When you enhance the skill level, it affects them both. And I've got max skill level on this one, as you can see. The current max is 20. It's going to increase to 30 later on, but I'll cover that when that comes out. But the whole thing about this is the fact that you want to raise your skill levels as high as possible. Now, do you have to go perfectionist and get it for every single weapon? Honestly, no. But the more you do it, the better off you will be. You got to keep that in mind. Now, I always try to have these videos set up so the main focus is to be able to clear content, not to completely blow it out the water. But I do recommend you try to raise it as much as possible, because of the simple fact that things will get easier and easier for you when you do so, and you'll be better prepared for content later down the line. Because we're going to get much harder stuff, believe me. But the main things you should really focus on is stuff that has assault. Even if it comes with a defender, that's still okay. In fact, it's recommended to get the ones that have multiple effects first. But you want to focus on the ones that have assault. And then union events. And I even got one from a Kamihime. And then there's also a Christmas event that gave one. But mainly union events will give you these pride weapons. And they also act like assault, but a little bit different. They give a basic attack power increase, just like the assault weapons. But it also randomizes. I mean, it doesn't randomize. It fluctuates based on your HP, your current HP. So when your HP is really low, you get the most bonus at 5% of your remaining HP. So that's pretty low and very dangerous. But the lower your HP goes, the more attack power these weapons will give you. Multiple of them can help, but me personally, I prefer having just one. Now, if I have a grid that doesn't have too much assault, I probably will try to put multiple frat weapons on. But if you like living dangerously, or you just need more assault, then frat weapons are definitely a way to go. But in the case of like having multiple frat weapons where you have choices and whatnot, it's up to you. That's what I'll sit and say. People have calculated that frat weapons can give you more attack power. But the thing is, I'm not exactly too reliant on them, because of the fact that you have to get them exceptionally high skill level to really get the most out of them. So, again, it's up to you. But since if you're going to try and get as best as you possibly can, you're going to max it out anyway, so why not use it? And then some weapons, when you equip them with the soul characters, they'll have special effects. Like that one had applied rampaging itself, which is a buff. Some can do debuffs, some can do other special effects. So you gotta keep that in mind when you choose your weapons. But that's the whole thing with this. There's a ton of weapons you're gonna need to get. And they all have different effects. Now, should you use defender weapons? Honestly, I believe you should have at least one that has defender in it. Because you do need the HP increases at times, unless you could just completely annihilate your enemy. But that's the whole thing. It's kind of difficult to do some content like that. Like, for instance, this is the only weapon I have for my fire grid that gives me more HP, and that's why I tried to level it up quite a lot. But that's literally the only one I have that gives me HP. The rest is assault. And that's another thing, too, why I'm going to go into this next little section as well. Now, when you're editing your grid, you have to pay attention to what your Kamihime do, you got to pay attention to what your weapons do, you got to pay attention to what your add-ons do, and then you got to pick a soul based on what you've got to fill in. Now, I'm already on the fire team, I do believe. And I picked this for the best damage output, I guess. Because I've got defense down from her. I get a defense down from her. She also gives an attack buff. She gives another type of attack buff. She gives another type of a buff that temporarily boosts attack. She also gives some resistance against wind, which is the element that this team's strong against. And then they all have special abilities and stuff that really complements things too. That's why I have this set up. But where they get the most of their power is definitely from this weapon grid. That's why I say to try and level up your skill levels of your weapons as much as possible. Like, for instance, I have this weapon right here that's skill level 20. But this is assault increase, this is assault, this is assault. These are all assault. This is pride, actually. And this is assault. And all my assault boosts are all large, which means double plus. Except for this one. This is a single plus. This is the pride weapon I got just because it's a strong one. And I got other stuff to fill it in. Now, this is what you would call a quote-unquote rainbow grid because it's got multiple stuff along it. If you really want to, you can go grind out the normal raid bosses and see if they drop that stuff. Because they dropped, I do believe, 3 weapons as well as an SR copy of themselves, but don't worry about the SR add-on copy of them. The weapon you need to worry about is probably the assault one, because if you're using SR weapons, it's best to have assault. Just don't go for a defender SR unless you absolutely need to. As in the case of this grid right here, I might need to get an SR defender just to try and get a little bit more survivability. But that's the whole thing with that one. You might want to get some stuff to fill in these grids. Me, I'm confident about my attack power and everything and the boosts and stuff they can give themselves. So that's why I have these. If you are going to go a rainbow route, focus on the weapons that get the most attack power. Like this is 2,200, this is 2,300, this is 2,200. I focused on them because they get the most attack power. Attack power is the main thing you want to get. HP will still come naturally. Especially you get dual effective weapons and some other stuff. Dual effect weapon like this would definitely help out with that. And we'll get other effects later down the line. And like I said, picking your main and subs. My subs are mixed between attack power, like she's got a decent amount of attack power, and utility. Like this one, decent amount of attack power. She's got a very good buff. That's the main reason why I got her. Decent attack power. And she's got an effect that might help me, but it's got a low chance of working. Again, decent attack power, and she's got a nice little debuff that can help survive. She's just here for straight up attack power. I'm going to get rid of her when I level up another one I got. And she's here for attack power, and she can also extend the duration of stun. Now, her effect, Dizzy may or may not work in your favor, but she's definitely here because not only her her attack power, which is pretty high. But like I said, she's got an elemental effect where fire characters deal 55% more damage. I think. I'm not fully sure how elemental attack works, but I think that's how it is. So that's why she's in the lead slot right there, because I've also got a decent amount of assault power from my weapons. And you should aim for its recommended 90% assault total, but go past that if you can. And then here's the thing with Kamihime. You may or may not have SSR. I recommend you re-roll for them if you don't have any and you aren't too far into the game. But the whole thing is, you have to try and build a team that works for you. Like, for instance, she's very good at dealing some damage. She's very, very strong at helping the team out, and she can deal some damage, which is also why I awakened her. I'll get to that later. She's an R character, but a very good one, because she's got a very strong debuff and also can heal the team by a little bit, but it still helps. She's a, I forgot what level of soul she is, but it's the equivalent of an SR character. She's not a standard one, I know that for sure. But she's also not a legendary. Elite, that's the name I'm trying to think of. She's an elite soul. But she comes with an innate defense down debuff. And she also gives an attack buff that's also pretty decent. So that's why I have her. And then I just use her extra skill slot. And then I also have subs as well, but I'm pretty much leveling them. Unless you need the sub slots, it's best to just stick characters that you need to level up in those. Now her, she's maxed out. I'm going to switch her out, but her, she's still got some work to go through. And then if I switch parties, then you can see a little bit of a glimpse of what I've got on other stuff. I'm not even going to show off the grids, but just the characters themselves. Like, I'm leveling her, because I just recently got her. I'm leveling these two, but she's got a strong debuff. She does strong damage. She does strong damage. She's got a nice little buff to the entire party that all kind of balances out. And then her extra skill, which you get from other souls, I got to deal more debuffing. So that helps as well. Strong for debuffing, and on top of that can also increase your chances of doing so. She's got a variety of effects between debuffing, extending the turns you got before you get hit with the boss's special attack. She can cause dizzy. She's just all around good. She's got a very strong debuff that can help out with dealing damage with light characters. She's just one of the best characters in the game, period, point blank. I'm waiting for her awakening. But she's got a very strong heal. She's got a decent debuff. She's got an ability to pretty much remove enemies' debuffs. So that's pretty good. She's got a strong debuff and can buff the party. So that's why I'm using her. And then I'm leveling those two off of this one. And then I got her in the lead slot because of this little thing right here, which increases their overall attack power and gives them resistance against darkness, which is the element they are strong against. So yeah, that was hard to cover. Just replay that part or whatever. You'll get the hang of it when you go through stuff. That's the whole thing with that. Now, when it comes to leveling up your weapons and whatnot, you notice how I have a surplus of gems right here. There's gem quests that can pop up. We just recently had one yesterday, which also doubled as an experience quest. I recommend doing that, but there's periodically points throughout the day where you can get materials to get your weapons leveled, your Eidolons leveled, and then you can also sit up and get gems as well. Now, when you throw them at this gacha, which I'm going to go to, I can tell you right off the bat, spam this gacha. There's a ton of R Kamihime you can just get from here now, and then there's ability awakening stuff and all that type of things too. Like, as you see here, you can get like elixirs and all these raid items and stuff. Do this gacha, please. It'll also have a chance of giving R weapons, which are more or less fodder for leveling skills. So that's what you want to do. Sometimes you'll see these accessory gachas pop up too. They might help you, but they might not. I don't know. But accessories mainly come from this quest that I'm about to go show off. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to show where you find it. And you might want to be pretty strong in order to do these, because the weakest one is on the same level as expert quests on admin events, which we have right now. And me, I've cleared all of the storyline I can clear, so... And I also recommend doing that for the magic jewels as well. You can rack up quite a bit of them from this. You can also do the same thing for this. Like, currently we have this admin event where you see all these different difficulties: expert, ultimate, standard, beginner, and a Ragnarok one. The accessory quests, this is on the level of an expert, this is on the level of an ultimate, this is on the level of Ragnarok, and this is past Ragnarok difficulty. And you see I've cleared them. I don't even really need to go to these because they give kind of crap accessories. But, yeah, this is where you get accessories from. You need to be very strong in order to get some of the higher level quests. Otherwise, you're going to have to farm the lower ones. You can get enhancement materials from these. Some of them you can't get from that gacha, so keep that in mind. You will have to keep doing these elemental quests. And there's 6 of them. There's 6 elements. And then events is where you can get the bulk of your stuff. But at the same time, too, there's also raids, like I said. And that's where it's going to get pretty interesting, because you'll be farming the first 2 levels of raids a lot if you want to try and get these assault weapons. Personally, I'm not having too much luck in finding them, so I just gave up. Plus, some of my grids don't even need them anyway. Like, my light grid is pretty good. My wind grid is fully decked out with SSR. I'll just wait for events to try and swap them out. My water grid's pretty close to that, but at the same time, I haven't leveled it, which is why it kind of sucks. And then my Kamihime selection ain't too great on it. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Standard and expert, grind those out. You'll probably get decent help for them. It doesn't take too long to just be able to do them yourself. This is where things change. Ragnarok. I haven't even started this one either because I'm not too confident in my fire team surviving it. But you're going to start needing some items from previous raids, and then starting it and just going into it. These are very, very tough raids right now. So majority of players aren't going to be able to survive it. Just do the best you can on there. That's all I can say. But they give you some very specific items that you can get in order to increase the output of your souls. There's not too many weapons we have along the lines of them, but they have special effects that can really spike out your damage output and everything. You might want to get those, depending on what soul you use. A very good one is to get those guns from Artanian, which is a legendary soul that uses guns. That way it will increase our debuffing. I've done this one, though, because my wind team's pretty strong. But we only have wind and thunder right now. We'll get the others later on. Now, I mentioned accessories. Here's where you go equipping them. You have to go to the main menu screen in order to do this. I don't know why they don't have it on the edit page, which would have made a lot more sense. Now, when it comes to accessories, and I haven't really farmed too many of them, to be quite honest. But I do have some that has somewhat decent stuff on them. But anyways, when you get to accessories, you can sit up and equip those. And then they come with certain effects too. They also have their own levels. When you max out the level, these effects increase. So keep that in mind. When you get some good effects you want to keep, there you go. Now, for pretty much good reference, if it's a normal accessory, you're not getting effects. Don't use them. R accessories get 1, SRs get 2, SSR get 3. However, if it's a ring, subtract 1 from it. So if it's an R ring, you're still not getting any. Don't use them. And their stats aren't too great either for the rings, so I prefer getting others. But that's a general consensus for all this stuff. Now, I forgot exactly which ones abilities you do want to hunt down, but I do know for a fact that defense is a good one. HP might be. I'm not sure about the raging meter decrease or the ability damage up, but drop rate increases is a good one for when you're farming stuff. Because the more of those you get, the better your chances of getting stuff. And then, of course, using Artanian will increase drop rate if you use Snatch. So that's the whole thing with that. You can enhance them into each other, but it's going to burn through your gem supply no tomorrow if they are not level 1. So be very careful of that. But all in all, that's a lot of different stuff to try and enhance your Kamihime. Now, one final thing I have to point out is the simple fact that your Kamihime, you mainly want to level them for stats and whatnot, but they also get abilities, and the older ones also get stronger when you level them up, so try to push them as high as you can. That's why you want to try and break limit them as much as possible. But when you do so, you have to pay very close attention when they are not an R Kamihime, because they can go straight up to their max level if you break them enough. When it comes to the SR ones, you want their 4th break, you need silver books you get only from events. At least right now. Some gachas can also give them too, but they're few and far between, and you probably shouldn't clamor for those anyways. When it comes to the SSR ones, they use gold books in order to do it. But if they can awaken, then it's a totally different story. I have a few Kamihime that can awaken. Like, she'll be able to awaken later on. It's pretty soon, actually. I think it'll be within a week from the point of this video. It's like after this event ends, I do believe she'll be able to awaken. But when you awaken them, it's going to take Dragonic Eyes. And then after you do that, once you hit a certain point, it's going to take silver and gold books. You will need a lot of materials to get an awakened Kamihime to full power. So if I go by highest level, you see I got a level 60 awakened Kamihime right there, just on this second page. But you can't go no further until I break her more, and it's going to take a lot of stuff. And I mean a lot. This is my most level Kamihime right now, because she's awakened and level 80 again. You have to get them to level 80 to awaken them the first time, and then you can drop the 3 Dragonic Eyes to do so. That will set them back to level 1. You gotta break them again. You gotta step and get more stuff. But their abilities become stupidly powerful when you do that. Like, for instance, she's giving regeneration to everybody and dealing damage. She has a guard effect where she'll summon all single target attacks or even random hit attacks to her. If the attack automatically hits everybody, it just won't work. But what does work is the fact that up to 3 times, I do believe, which is 3 turns, 2 or 3 turns, I'm not exactly sure, she will prevent herself from taking any damage whatsoever. That's very powerful. And then this reduces all damage by 40%, and if it's a thunder attack, it's got an extra resistance of 20%, I do believe. So that is like a 60% resistance towards thunder attacks. See why she's very good. And then her own defense is up even further too. But yeah, in the case of Dragonic Eyes, which is the last thing I'm going to cover, because this is very important, there is 2 ways to get them. The first, you have to pull a Kamihime weapon that you already have. That's very hard to do, because it doesn't work for the R ones, and it doesn't work for the SR. Only the SSR Kamihime. So, those rare Kamihime like her that you can sip and get from the gacha, you gotta pull their weapon multiple times to get the Dragonic Eyes. That's very, very hard to do. You can also get them from missions. This is the most common way to get them. Because if you complete these weekly quests, all 5 of them, and this is by far the hardest one to do because you gotta have done 25 out of 35 missions. But the whole deal with this is that you have to clear all 5 of these to get this Dragonic Eye Shard. And that, I will talk about that later. Events sometimes give you quests that you can sip and get some from too, like these advent battles. They give you like a few Dragonic Eye Shards from doing these because we got repeats. You might want to do those as well. The only other place to get them from too, the Dragonic Eye Shards, is occasionally a gacha whenever a character gets awakened. Since Soul's going to get awakened soon, expect one pretty soon. And those typically give you up to 12, depending on how much money you can throw at the game. And then there's another one as well. Like from these repeat of advent events. Events in general can give you them. But these repeat advent events, I can trade for more, actually. I do believe. Yeah, see, I can trade for some gold books, some silver books, but I don't really need them. I can trade for these elixirs, which I'll probably do when I get more. You can get soul points in order to unlock more souls. You can get more of the Eidolons and whatnot. I may or may not do it. I'm not in too much of a rush. Oh, by the way, if you want to trade for these regalias and then eventually the regalia weapons, it's in this screen too. But for Ritra, I know I got more stuff for her. There's a lot of stuff I can exchange for. Yeah, see, I can exchange for this one. There's a Dragonic Eye Shard I can get right here. Now, when I do the other two Ragnarok fights and get more of those materials, then I'll be able to trade for the last one. But, anyways, and the reason I don't need her is because I already maxed her out. But, anyways, when you get 10 of these, so if you're doing it straight off from weekly quests, it's going to take you 10 weeks. But, when you get 10 of these, you can trade into a Dragonic Eye. So if you want to awaken a Kamihime from just weekly quests alone, it's going to take you 30 weeks if you don't pull any extra Dragonic Eyes. So that's a long time. There's also other stuff you can get from Dragonic Eyes, but I do not recommend them. Because this is useless. This is mainly for skill leveling, but it's useless. It nearly guarantees... Actually, no, I think it does guarantee a skill level increase. Period point blank. But you don't need to go for them. This one, Kamihime weapon ticket or higher. Personally, I would save the Dragonic Eyes for Awakening Kamihime, but if you really want to try and get more, then maybe. And then this one, SSR guaranteed, is iffy. If you have a lot of them to spare maybe to use it, you might get an SSR you don't have. This one is an SSR weapon guarantee ticket. I wouldn't get this either. Maybe not until later down the line where these weapons become stupidly more powerful. But these non-Kamihime weapons that you see right here that you trade 15 for, yeah, you can get one at random for 5. And I've pulled a few when they used to be in the gacha. Like this one and this one. They used to be in the gacha. Now they're no longer in them in some specific ones. If you really want to go out your way and try and get some of these, be my guest, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then these are special items that break SSR Kamihime, or no, SSR weapons and SSR Eidolons. They automatically break any one of them if you get them. If you're going to spend Dragonic Eyes for anything other than an Awakening, these are the two things to go for. Because they help you break stuff that you haven't broken. These are the only things to go for. Unfortunately, the trait limit is very, very hard to get these. But see, you can break them in SSR weapons. You can break them in SSR Eidolons. But you need a lot of Dragonic Eyes to do so. We'll eventually get ones for SR stuff as well, but I wouldn't recommend it either. But here's where you trade your regalias for these regalia weapons, just to show how stupidly strong these things are. All allies wind attack is there. And then there's a second one where it boosts a snatch third for Artanian. And then when you start breaking them, you get even more goodies and stuff too. Not to mention their overall attack power can go way, way up. Like this one boosts Sniper Shot. This is one of the ones to go after. Especially if you're using the Wind Team a lot. But then when you do Storyline Quests too, you can trade more stuff in. If you want my recommendation, maybe get the half elixirs, but you can pull them from the gacha, so you don't have to really go too far. Don't worry about Energy Siege. You get a lot of them from the raid events. You get Energy Leaves from the Union ones, so you don't really need to go out your way for those. Maybe if you need more assault, then go after a few of them, but I don't know if all of them are assault. And then there's two specific ones I'd say you want to go after, only because of how things are in this game. We've recently got quite a few light events, but you might still be hurting for light weapons. This is one to trade for. Just grind it out and try and trade for that one. And then this is the Dolan, and I'm not sure if you can max break her to get her all the way up to the highest Dolan level for that. I think it might be 80 or 85. I'm not sure. But looky here, she lowers the defense of enemies. And then she's got an elemental dark increase for 35%, which is not too bad either, as you can get her maxed out. But this is the main reason why you want to grind her out, but you gotta get pretty far in the storyline. But by then you'll have all the free SR Kamihime. I recommend getting them anyways, just because some of them do help. Like Amon sometimes helps for a fire team, or any team really, because she got an ability that helps you nullify status elements. Cybele helps too, especially if you don't have her SSR version, because she's got some strong debuffing capability. She can buff herself and sometimes nullify the damage that she takes. It depends when she gets hit. But yeah, that's the whole thing with that. But other than that, I can't really recommend anything else right now, because we don't have that content out yet. But hopefully this video covered a lot of stuff for you as well. And also, when it comes to leveling up weapon skills and all that, I've done another video. There's other stuff too. But I'm going to leave 2 links in the description below, because you might have seen those tabs. Like, this tab leads to the Japanese wiki. This one leads to the Harem Battle Club forums for Kamihime Project. You might want to check those out as well, because they have some stuff. I'm on the Kamihime Project forums as well, with my same username as in this game, which is Magic Spice. My username typically ends up being one of 3 things. Either Dark Frost, Magic Spice, or Kazuka. I'm not going to go into explaining why I have those, but those are the 3 usernames I typically have. And one last thing I'm going to put here too, which is the friends thing. And also, I do remove friends if they aren't active for a while. It's typically like 20-30 days if they're not active. So yeah, you might want to keep that in mind. But when I go into this right here, you can find your friend ID. This is the last thing I'm going to have to post. You can get some recommended friends too. There's my friend ID if you want to friend me. I do have some slots open, but they do fill up fast. So there's my ID. But anyways, that's all I have for this video. This is like an updated kind of guide for a lot of stuff. I'm not showcasing everything I do have, but believe me when I say this, I played this game a lot. I've thrown a lot of money at the game. I'm not even sure how much I got anymore, but I've got like gacha videos. But anyways, that's all I have for this video, guys. Expect more Kamihime Project soon, and take care.